though we have slowed down a bit on the partisanship. I think it has. I might be wrong. I hope I'm not. But I think we need to slow down a lot more. I know the job of politics is to be in power. I understand that totally. I also know one of the promises of politics is to create a different and better environment for the people who've put you into that position. Have we necessarily done so? Questionable. Do you think it's time we did? Absolutely. Strong leadership, necessary. Weak leadership is popular, but not necessarily effective. I don't want to bring up the Singapore model. I think that's old and tired. As a matter of fact, it's very relevant. I just think that every time it's brought up, our leadership kind of almost resentful of having to bring that up. But it's a wonderful target to hit. I mean, if you're going to go somewhere, go there, you know. Don't aim for number 5, aim for number 1. There are a couple of things I think need to change. I think the term limits, one. I think probably separation of powers. Too much power in the office of the Prime Minister. I think the office of the Prime Minister would like a little bit less, but we don't know how to get rid of it. Must move it. A little bit more oversight, a lot more transparency on both sides. Both sides is let's be transparent about it, or you're not going to have a nation worth governing, so we won't go anywhere. Transparency works. It works. And it shouldn't be forced on us. We claim 56 years of independence. So let's take 56 years of maturity and be transparent without being forced to. You know, I say this, in that there's no way the IMF should have come here and put us on a program. We should have put ourselves on that program a long time ago. And it is nothing we didn't know how to do. There's no way we should be forced in the early childhood program, because there's nothing we don't know. And what we don't know, we can find out very easily. There are examples all over the world. They know they need to reinvent the wheel in so many things. Is the capacity there in the succession? I believe both parties right now are in a pretty good shape with younger people. I think so. And yes, I would think decent shape with young, better than they were 10 years ago. Okay? You want to talk about that? Let's talk about the boards. Let's talk about government boards. Why does everybody on a government board have been 65 years old? Not necessary. We need to have succession in the boards, and we need to change things like when the government changes, the board changes. No, there's no legacy, there's no information, there's no knowledge going forward. They shouldn't have to change the boards. That's not what the board is there for. I'm sorry. And a classic example probably is the recent appointment of the governor, the new governor, not known to be a friend of this government or that government, and he's not a supporter of, but he's there. And I think the best man is the best man in the job, and that's the way it's supposed to be. Because if he's truly professional, doesn't matter who he voted for. And if not, he's going to show up really quick, isn't it? Right. I'm being very simple. That's totally simplistic. You can't put people on boards who are not capable. It's quite simple, you know. There's nothing magical about the whole thing. I mean, I would say, first of all, if you were being appointed to a government board tomorrow, I don't care in what position, as long as you sat on that board, whether the position of chairman or just ordinary director, you should have to go through something equivalent to the BOJ fit and proper. Because I think if you can pass the BOJ fit and proper, then you can get on the board. Me sitting on the board of a private company, I could have shares in that company. I'm risking my own money. When I sit on the board of a public company, I'm risking the country's money. You know, that to me is more important than me making a mess of my own finances. I don't know if everybody sees it that way, but I feel far more responsible with taxpayers' money than I feel about mine.
As a country, are we strong enough against corruption? What else can we do?
Not nearly. Not nearly. It's still expediency. It suits us. We talk about it. But when push comes to shove, we tend to turn a blind eye, less and less so, happily, less and less so. And we can thank the press for that. We can thank social media for that happening. You know, it's a destructive thing, social media. It can be a constructive thing. Then again, if you have an educated populace, they'll know how to decide what is real and what is not. I've thought about this for a while. How many people pay taxes? How many people in this country about really pay taxes? And how many people who really kind of making some serious money pay any tax at all? Outside the NIS and some declared money. How many people do it? Not enough people have skin in the game of Jamaica. For example, you lick down a light post. How many people have you heard about paying for a light post to be replaced? You can lick it down, but you have to pay for it. So who pays for that? The people who buy light and power from JPS. So who's paying taxes? How many people pay land taxes? Of the land taxes due in the country, how much is in arrears right now or just way behind? How much is there? So if I have no skin in the game, what am I worried about? See where the corruption comes back now? You see where that lack of transparency comes? How many people really have that? How many people live in a 9-bedroom home with three luxury cars parked outside with no visible source of income? Well, the story is that, well, we don't know how to find them. My question is, really? And to use the younger generation and say, dude, you expect me to believe that? You don't want to find them. So when we start to get that into it, and we have our country with everybody, or a lot of people having skin in the game, then we'll start to care about how the money is spent. We're going to start to worry about why you're repairing that road for the 9th time in 4 years. But guess what? There's hope, because the younger generation will not accept it. I promise you that. And I have too many of them around me on a daily basis. They're not going to accept it. And the government is not going to understand why until it's too late. They are not going to accept this. I hope they voice their opinions and their sentiments sooner rather than later. And that is my hope. The hope is that they're educated, they're informed, they have an endless amount of information and knowledge, and I hope they use it well.